Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Roll Up Varsity. I am Connor,
It's your boy Sticks.
and we are joined by five-star edge rusher Samuel Mpemba from IMG Academy.
Yes,
Sam,
sir.
thank you for joining us, man. Welcome to the podcast. Pleasure to have you on. Before we kind of get into everything, we always like to ask people outside of football, who is Samuel Mpemba?
Uh, that's a good question. I don't know. I like to chill. I play the game a lot. I play Madden. I don't know, I'm really big on football. That's really mainly all I do for real. Just football stuff, watching film to learning. Just taking care of business for real. Um, just chill with my homeboys, man. That's mainly it.
Yeah, with your play speaks it all of why that you sit there and then most of your life is football. You sit there, study the game. One of the bigger football schools in the nation is IMG. So how does IMG prepare you for the next level, you feel?
I feel like it's gonna develop you. Just going against guys every day, and then you got a schedule. So there's no days where you can feel like you can slack off and there. That like you got to be there. You got to go put the work in. Like just putting in extra work with the guys. Top guys around the country. You're gonna get better every day. So.
So you made the position switch this year, moving from you were playing a little bit of tight end and edge last year to exclusively edge this year. What went into that position change? And do you think that's something that's going to help you develop more at your position?
Yeah, I feel like it helped me, especially playing like the offensive side of the ball. I feel like just like from the twitchiness side, it helps you from running routes and getting in on your breaks, helps you come off the edge a little more. And then what really made that decision for me was just thinking about the bag, man. I felt like playing the edge position, you're gonna make a lot more money. You're more valuable to the team than being a tight end.
With that being said, has there been any schools that ever reached out to you and using that as a recruiting tool, telling you play both sides of the ball?
Yeah, no, there's been a couple schools told me that. That's what I want to do at first, actually. Go to college, play both sides of the ball. But I feel like it's better, just focus on one main position. But yeah, it's definitely been some schools who try to recruit me to play both sides.
I need you to name drop them. I need you to name drop them. Which schools talking that talk, man? Which schools telling you both?
Let's see. I had Notre Dame tell me that. Washington, Florida. Uh, who else says? There was a couple schools, man. There was a couple schools. Yeah.
I'll take what you told me. I'll take it.
So obviously, being a five-star prospect, you get hit up by all kind of schools, everybody across the country. Who's who of offer lists, man? You've got what, like 40 offers now, something like that. Um, what would you say is kind of the biggest thing that you've learned going through the recruiting process, and how have you been able to navigate that?
I would say the biggest thing for sure is just just being you, focusing on you. Not trying to like focus on anybody else, but stay in your lane, man. Don't get involved into the hype and all that stuff. I feel like a lot of guys get caught up into that, and then that ruins them down the road. So just keep working every day. I feel like that's the biggest thing for sure.
So official visits. Which ones you got set up? What are some of the schools or what some of the visits that you got set up right now?
I ain't set up all of them yet, but I'm gonna go to Oregon with Sanford. I'm gonna be at Notre Dame when they play Clemson. I'm gonna be at Georgia when they play Auburn, and then the other ones I ain't set up yet, so we gonna see.
Who's leading for that last spot?
It's between Tennessee and Florida. I got two more, so we gonna see. We gonna see. So.
So obviously, being that you have all these different options, different campuses you've been able to visit over the course of your recruiting process, is there any particular campus that you were like, or any visit that you were like, man, this place is beautiful, or hey, this is a really nice place that stood out above everybody else?
Definitely Notre Dame, man. Notre Dame got a great campus. It's a beautiful school. Just like the culture from, just the history behind the program. I feel like that was definitely one of the beautiful schools. Miami, being in Coral Gables in Miami. Off the top of my head, probably those two right there for sure.
And then when you talking about schools and doing a good job of recruiting you, who do you think recruiting wise? I'm not saying which schools in the league, but what school is doing a great job of recruiting you that stands out to you above all?
As in, like name the schools, level schools.
Well, you could name coaches and then go on to name schools as a whole.
Coach Uzo Deribe, he at Georgia. It's a lot of guys at Georgia. I messed with Georgia for a little bit. Coach Rod Wright at Miami. I got a really good relationship with him. He's real cool, man. I don't know. I mean, it's a couple of coaches I got on and off relationships with, but I feel like those are the best ones so far.
And does that translate into the schools? Are those the schools doing the best job in total of recruiting you as well?
Yeah. I feel like those two, like, they definitely been trying to recruit me the heaviest. But there's also some other schools who been recruiting me hard as well. But I feel like they be recruiting me hardest.
So you mentioned Notre Dame as far as like the campus life, a school that does a good job recruiting you, and a school that you like. South Bend's a really small town, but like you said, the history behind the program is really big. We've talked a lot, Curtis and I, about Marcus Freeman and how he's a first-year head coach, and he seems to have done a really good job recruiting, but also getting that team ready to go for this season. What is it like to speak with Coach Freeman, and what's his personality? Because you get to see what we don't.
Yeah, no, Coach Freeman, he's a real cool guy, man. He was a DC there at Notre Dame before he was a head coach, so I already had a great relationship with him. But he's the same guy that he was when he was at DC, to who he is now as the head coach. From just being humble and like the leader guy, being for the players. I feel like he's definitely a man of his word. A guy for the players when you see the guys succeed. So he's a great person for sure. I think he's gonna be a great head coach.
And Notre Dame historically has actually done a really good job of recruiting the St. Louis area where you're from. Does that kind of help them at all, or does that play any factor?
Nah, not for real. I feel like everybody got their own path, and if that's where it fits for them, then that's where they should go. So I don't really got no problem.
What about Mizzou and the SEC, man? What's up with them?
Man, Mizzou, they all right, man. They straight. They're cool. Just being a hometown, I visit them a lot of times, so definitely show love to them boys. But no, Coach Reese, they got a good program. They're gonna come up for sure.
So there was a quote that came out about a week ago after your visits to Florida and Miami, about Florida would be more of a business type decision, and Miami would be more of like hey, I like this city, I like this area. Was that kind of taken out of context, or is that how you feel about Miami, like kind of a party town kind of thing, or how does that go?
No, that definitely got taken out of context. that got taken out of context for sure, man. No. I don't feel like Miami just like a little party school. Florida definitely more like the business side, being in Gainesville. Miami, I mean, yeah, it's like there's like a lot more because it's University of Miami, you're in Miami. But I don't really worry too much about that stuff, man. That's funny though.
Yeah, they say the decision to go play ball next level is a 40-year decision because it's more than just football. You could get to the league, get hurt right away. So it's all about that degree and stuff like that too.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's the main part.
So you mentioned Stanford before as well. Obviously, Notre Dame's a great academic institution. What does the academic side mean to you in your recruiting process? And then do you have any idea kind of what you want to do when you get to college as far as like a major goes?
Oh, I'm probably gonna major in like sports management. I feel like it's just something I want to get into, see how that is. But I don't know. I mean, we're gonna see, man. Academics, I feel like that's a really big piece. In your recruitment and where you should go. You shouldn't go somewhere where it's just straight football. Because like you said, like life bigger than football. So you want to just go somewhere you can be developed on the academic side as a man, and then on the football field.
How was the transition of moving from Missouri down to Florida? Because I know it's a big culture difference for sure.
No, it's hot, man. When I first got here, walked outside, the humidity, man, it was different. It was different for sure. I was tired, but it was hot. But I started to get used to it now, man. Just traveling to different places. Like I'm starting to get used to humidities in different places a lot faster. But no, it was hot for sure.
Is heat the only difference? Did you see a culture difference? People?
Yeah. No, the culture definitely different, man. From the people here, especially IMG, it's a lot of guys from Florida. So just the way they talk and just how everybody moves, man. Everybody different, so for sure.
They be having slugs in Missouri too.
Nah, they ain't got no slugs. They ain't got none of that, man.
Nah, no glee.
Nah, ain't none of that. Nah.
So being at IMG, obviously you have kids from all across the country playing on your team. You said a lot of kids from Florida, but we talked to Will Norman a few weeks ago. He's obviously from New Jersey. What is it like, and how do you I guess assimilate and mesh with all those guys from different parts of the country?
I don't know. I feel like we all, at the end of the day, we all come together, man. Trying to reach the same goal. So, just being able to see that, and then just look at guys from different cultures, seeing them, seeing how they process, seeing how driven they are and where they come from. Because you'll see like a lot of that stuff on TV, like, oh, like this school, and the guy here, he came from that school or something like that. So you just get opportunities to, just talk to other guys, learn different cultures, respect different guys.
Next time I get around both of y'all, I need y'all birth certificate. It's ridiculous. I'm older than y'all by like 10 years, and y'all both look older than me. That's not cool, man.
No, We'll definitely look older, boy. He look like.
Oh, I told him that when he came on. I'm like, nah, I need that. That's crazy. Yeah. Boy, don't get. He could probably go outside. Don't get ID'd. It's crazy.
No, for real. Boy, look old, man.
And meanwhile, I'm seeing me in pictures and stuff. I'm looking like a little kid next to y'all. That's not straight, man. I'm not cool with that.
Well, Curtis, they are Division I athletes, and we're hosting a podcast, so.
No, that's for sure. But dang, man, some slack. They look grown. That's for sure.
Not for sure, man. Will Hughes, that would be. Just when I first seen him, I was like, damn, big as hell. But yeah, he cool though.
Now I remember when I said what's up to him when he dapped me up. I was like, it's crazy, man. His hands is huge. He dapped me up. I was like, oh, all right, that's crazy.
Yeah. He cool though. He real cool.
So moving halfway across the country to finish out your high school career is obviously a tough decision for any high school kid to make. What went into that decision, and how hard was it to move yourself all the way away from your family to finish out your high school?
I didn't really think it was that hard. I was really just focused on the goal, honestly. I just want to be developed and get prepared for college. So I feel like that was the best decision to make, especially from being from my old school. I feel like coming here, I'll just be developed way faster and then have a better opportunity when I get to college and play at whatever college I want to play at. So I feel like I always saw like the bigger picture, and I feel like this was the best opportunity for me. So
that's a mature decision right there. It takes a lot to go into that and be able to make that decision, and that shows that you look forward towards the future. A lot of people are right now mindset, and then you're thinking about that. How did the fam feel though when you were deciding to leave? What was their emotions on that?
I mean, that was cool, man. When I was talking to them, it was all cool, but they just wanted just what was best for me, honestly. You know what I mean? They just wanted to see what was going on, make sure that I was making the right decision. But they supported me for the full way, though, for sure.
Was it like a recruiting process kind of with IMG when it came to like deciding for you to come over there? How does that work for them to decide? Is it them deciding? Is it you deciding? How's that go?
Yeah, sometimes they'll really like try and like hit you, be like, yo, like we feel like you're a real good fit for our program and stuff like that. Anything like that. But I feel like I don't know, just being here, seeing IMG on YouTube and stuff like that. I feel like that's something like I want to be a part of, and something like I feel like I should be a part of. So yeah.
So getting back to the recruiting process a little bit, obviously you still have some official visits to take during the fall. Do you have any idea on kind of when you want to have a decision made by? Is it something you want to get out of the way early, or wait till early signing day, national signing day? What's your thought process there?
I'm probably just gonna wait till probably during the season, maybe like the middle of the season. I'm just taking my time with it now. I'm not really trying to rush in. Make sure I make the right decision. So I'm just taking my time.
So you're not holding out till signing day. You gonna shut it down early?
Yeah,
so you can help recruit.
Yeah, I'm shutting down early. Yeah,
for sure.
And what's the biggest factor for you in that decision, man? Academics, school feel, culture,
development. I feel like development and just the culture. You want to be around guys who want to win. And I feel like the people you're around, bro, like that's who you're gonna be. You feel me? So if you're around guys who really want to win, and you know you're gonna get developed, you're gonna be the best that you can be.
So with that, obviously you're going to take visits during the year to see football games. Is that going to kind of be a big factor for you because you'll get to go into the locker room and see how those guys react after games, stuff like that?
Well, you can say it again. You can say it again.
Yeah, no, you're good. So obviously you're going to be taking visits during the season to games to see the game day atmosphere. But a big part of that, I know a lot of kids want to go because they can see the culture that's in the locker room after those games and kind of how they react to wins and losses. Is that kind of a big part of your process?
Yeah, I feel like that's a big part of the process. You know, because you can always just have like little stuff, like little games and stuff set up for recruits, during the summer and stuff. But during the season, that's when the actual work that you put in it actually shows. So we're gonna see what actually happens.
In your head right now, do you have a leader? Is your mind even made up yet? Or are you still working through that?
Wait, say it again. My fault.
All good. I said, in your head right now, do you have a leader? And is your mind made up, or are you still just going through the whole process?
Oh yeah, no, I look, you do got a little leader. Yeah, I'm still just going through the process and seeing how
You know he's about to ask. He's about to ask right now.
Hey, you know we fam, cuz. You know what I'm saying? You gonna drop it on the pod who the leader is?
Nah, I ain't gonna drop it on the pod.
Oh, come on, cuz.
I ain't gonna drop it on the pod. Man.
It's all right.
Yeah.
All right, man. We'll switch off of that. A question we always like to ask when we have people on the podcast. On Friday nights for a football game, you got the headphones on. What are you listening to get yourself ready for the game?
Oh, I like listening to Dirt, Young Boy. I listen to a lot of Rod Wave. I listen to Rod. Yeah. So
Sam came to Florida and started listening to Rod Wave. I like it.
I liked Rod before, but like after I got here, I started liking Rod a lot more. But definitely Dirt though, for sure. I like Dirt.
Dirk #1. I'm saying that too because my boy Taylor that be in the chat right now. He's a YB fan, and they got their beef going on right now. But I'm Dirk all day. You know what I'm saying?
Dirt hard, bro.
He talk about YB better in the chat.
They tripping.
for me, Dirk #1.
Yeah, they tripping.
I don't know, man. Not a lot of people listen to the pod, man. You could go ahead and drop the leader, dog. Don't worry, it ain't gonna be big news, man. So I'm saying you could go ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exclusive on here.
Yeah.
Nah, but so top schools wise, what's the most recent top schools? How many were in that?
Well, I had 7. My most recent.
7. Have you slimmed that list down?
Yeah, I slimmed down to probably like 3 or 4.
So what's your 4 right now?
My 4 right now, I got Georgia, Miami, Notre Dame, Florida, and then I would add Oregon in there. So yeah.
Okay, so that's your top. So that's your top 5 there.
Yeah, that's my top 5.
In that order?
No, not in that
order. this man's always reaching for something, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I need that.
No, but hey, that's a roll-up varsity exclusive. Samuel and Pemba's top 5, not released on Twitter yet. Officially released on Thursday on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm hyping that. I'm gonna be like, yo, y'all want his top 5? Y'all check this podcast right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. But no, man. Curtis, you have any more questions?
Nah, not really, unless he wants to bless the podcast, unless you want to do that. Nah, really.
I got you.
Right. No, Sam, for sure. Hey, really appreciate you coming on, man, hanging out with us for a little bit. Before we get you out of here, though, we always like to close out the episode with a song. You said you're a Dirt fan, so what song do you want us to close out the episode with from you, sir?
Ooh. Damn, that's a good question.
You see me different here.
Close it with some Russ.
Oh, we got some Rod Wave closing it out. All right.
Yeah, play Close Enough to Hurt by Rod.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm a big Rod Wave fan, man. So I'm a Florida boy at heart. So
yeah, I got you.
I told you this podcast be different. It's not like, you know what I'm saying, real yes sir, no sir.
Yeah.
It's like it's supposed to be like barber talk, you know what I'm saying? You come in here, chill, talk how you want to talk.
Yeah.
I hope you felt that too. You feel me?
No, for sure. No, I enjoyed y'all boy, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
You already know
man.
how I rock outside the podcast. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, this man walking around like he owns the place on Friday night.
Stop it. Stop it. That's them. That's all them.
Yeah.
Them boys run the show, man.
Oh yeah. All right,
we
Sam.
good.
Well, we won't take up too much more of your time, man. We appreciate you joining us, dude. For those that aren't familiar with Samuel Mpemba, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and follow your senior season as well as your upcoming college commitment here later in the year.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you, man. Sure, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. We locked in. We gonna watch your next season. We got you.
We gonna go crazy.
You better show out, man.
Yeah,
I got high expectations for you.
Definitely tuned in.
We gonna go crazy. Sure.
All right, my boy. Appreciate you.
All right, Sam. Appreciate you, man.
All right, y'all. Appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, great interview with Sam. We got the official Samuel Mpemba top five. That'll be dropping on Thursday when we drop the pod. Obviously, it's Tuesday night, so we get to sit on it for a couple days.
We know.
We know. We might tease it a little bit on the timeline.
Oh yeah,
but,
I'm about to. I'm about to add them and everything.
Man, great interview. Awesome conversation there with Sam. I forgot to mention this before we got the interview started, but that interview with Samuel Mpemba is brought to you by a new sponsor. We now have a new sponsor, the clothing brand Dying to Self. Dying to Self is a faith-based clothing brand that's all about selfless living, designed with various aesthetics and neutral styles of shirts, hoodies, and top quality comfort. Use promo code Varsity10 for 10% off your order. And to help support the podcast. Curtis, if you guys are watching the YouTube video, which thanks to our guy Taylor, we're going to have all of our YouTube videos up this week.
Yes, sir.
Curtis has it on YouTube right now, showing off one of the hoodies. Yep. But again, guys, that is Dying to Self. Use promo code Varsity10 for 10% off your order to help support the podcast.
And that's personally my brother's brand. That's the same podcast that I was on before, the Talk of the Two, where I was talking about us and promoting this podcast. This is actually his clothing brand. It's really successful. And I'm actually wearing one of the number one selling jackets. He also has the shirt version of this. Y'all go out, use Varsity 10 to show some love.
All right, Curtis. Well, we got the interview out of the way early. I kind of like that vibe, man.
I like having the interview first.
I like having the interview in there first. Gets us going quick, and we had started out with great content. So
and back-to-back weeks of that is actually, it seems low-key like the wave.
Yeah, definitely seems like the way to go. But because we didn't get to jump into a little bit of what we did this week, man, how was your week leading up to this, and what'd you get into?
I always forget what I did. Like, when you ask me on the spot, I'm always like, what did I do this last weekend? I have no idea what I did this last weekend. But I don't know. Most of the time it's been family time with my daughter. That's always great. She's about to go back to school on the 16th. So just spending as much time as with her as I can before that happens. And we're about to acclimate her to her bedtime, because for the summer she's able to go to sleep a little bit later. But, you got to start just like my mom taught me. And my daughter got it a few days before. I got it like the month before. You got to start going to bed earlier. So it's real hard for the body to adjust. So we're about to see what day one do with that. How about you? What you got into?
Man, it was good. I got to spend some time with my dad on Saturday. Went and played some golf with him. Just kind of hung out, relaxed a little bit while the wife was at work. And then the wife and I got to go on a little date night Saturday night. First time we've done that in a couple months. So that was nice. But other than that, man, just a relaxing weekend. Didn't do a whole lot, and enjoyed the time with the loved ones for sure.
That's always the best, man. That's always the best. And let's get into these top schools. You know what I'm saying? Where y'all get the real information. You get it from the interviews, and then you get Connor and Sticks. Usually our crystal balls, our version of crystal balls. Sometimes you get some in here, sometimes it's plain. So let's get into the 5-star number 2 wide receiver, Hakeem Williams from Stranahan High School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's cut his list down to 6 schools, that being Alabama, Georgia, Miami, Texas A&M, FSU, and Pittsburgh. He's actually finally set a commitment date for September 23rd. So he's going to end up making that decision. Right now, I think he's trending towards Texas A&M. Wouldn't be surprised if he ended up anywhere else, but that's currently where it seems like he's trending. Then we're going to go over to 4-star number 6 defensive lineman, Kelby Collins. He's out in Alabama. He's narrowed his list down to 5 schools, those being Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Oklahoma, and South Carolina. And he's actually made his decision to commit on August 13th. So more than likely knows where he's going since that commitment date is so close from here.
And just tweeted today, Tuesday, that his commitment will be between the hours of 2 and 4 o'clock.
So if you guys have some time on your hands and some good Wi-Fi, I'm going to need you guys to open up your laptop and watch that for 2 hours. And then let me know where he chooses, because I don't know if I could sit around I have ADHD. I can't sit around for 2 hours.
That's quite an extensive window there.
Right. I've never heard that window, but hey, at least he warns us. Some people tell us it's at this time and they make us sit there for 2 hours. So I appreciate that, Kelby. Now let's go over to 4-star number 8 defensive lineman Jordan Renaud from Tyler Legacy, Texas. He's narrowed his list down to 2 schools, so that's his top 2 being Alabama and Oklahoma, and he set a commitment date for September 19th. Those 2 powerhouses battling it out for his commitment. Be locked in over there. Going over to 4-star number 6 athlete Jacoby Johnson. He's from Mustang, Oklahoma. He's narrowed his list down to 5 schools, 2 of those being in-state with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Then moving on to Michigan, Alabama, and Sanford. He set a commitment date for August 13th. A lot of kids set their commitment dates for August 13th now that I'm noticing it. And that gives us a lot to look forward to and a lot more to announce on our next episode. So that's good there too. Then going over to 4-star number 7 athlete, Malachi Coleman. He's in Lincoln East High School in Nebraska. He's cut his list down to 7 schools, with that being Oregon, USC, Ole Miss, Nebraska, Michigan, Oklahoma, and Georgia. He's actually somebody who hasn't set a commitment date. So stay tuned there. Now we're going over to 4-star number 15 cornerback Jordan Matthews out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, from Woodlawn High School. He's narrowed his list down to 3 schools, LSU not making the cut there, with those being Michigan, Texas, and Tennessee. He set his commitment date for August 15th. So another August commitment date set there, not the 13th, but the 15th. And then we're going to go over to 4-star safety Kylan Jackson. He's from Zachary, Louisiana. He's narrowed his list down to 2 schools. LSU and A&M are going to be battling it out there. The third person that we're announcing on this podcast that have a commitment date of August 13th. So it will be definitely some things to look forward to on that day. I got to circle it on my calendar and pay attention. And then going over to 4-star cornerback Sean Russ out of Dunbar High School. I have a personal tie to this high school because one of my closest friends that actually kind of got me into the interest of recruiting came from Dunbar High School. Derek Hunter, that's my dog. He's over at JUCO doing his thing. So tune in there, see where he goes. But Dunbar High School, Sean Russ is coming out from there, and he's down to 3 schools: Michigan, Louisville, and FSU. So Dunbar continue to produce prospects that go D1. We'll be tuned in over there. Then going over to 3-star Caden Jones out of De La Salle High School in New Orleans, Louisiana. He's down to 5 schools, those being Houston, Texas A&M, Florida, FSU, and Texas. This is one of the kids that I personally think is very underrated. And usually, not always, but you could tell by the schools that they list in their top schools to know if they're underrated. Powerhouses like Texas A&M, Florida, FSU, Texas, Houston. Those are some great schools to be able to commit to. So that's somebody keep an eye on there. And like I said, somebody I think is completely underrated. And we like to mention that usually when we think a kid is not being did just by the ranking system. And then we'll go over to the 3-star safety, Kenton Kirkland, out of Rains High School in Jacksonville, Florida. He's down to 2 schools, those being Florida State and Kentucky. Another kid setting a commitment date for August 15th. So stay tuned there. We have a lot of August 13th to August 15th commits. So recruiting world going crazy those 2 days. Then going over to 3-star cornerback Ricky Gibson out of Hewitt, Trustville, Louisiana. He's down to 3 schools. I love how all these kids are going real low. What'd you say, Connor? You said something?
Hewitt, Trussville, Alabama, sir, not Louisiana.
Did I say Louisiana?
Maybe just a little bit.
Oh my God, Hewitt, Trussville, Alabama. I can't believe in my head I said Alabama too. I appreciate the adjustment there. Connor always keeping me on point. He's down to 3 schools: Penn State, Georgia, and Tennessee. I appreciate that, Connor, keeping me on point. Did I go through the top schools correct?
Yes, you've made it correct this far, sir.
There we go. Thank you.
Only one error.
I'll take it. 1 error through all that for me. That's a great day. That's a great day. And we'll go over to 4-star number 13 quarterback Ricky Collins out of Woodlawn High School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana this time. He'll be announcing his commitment on Wednesday, August 10th. Another August commitment. He used to be committed to Purdue. He backed off his pledge August 1st. So it seems like he kind of knows where he's going off of decommitting and then setting a recommitment date so soon. What's your prediction on it?
Well, he's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You don't often see those kids leave the state of Louisiana, so
Right.
I'm going to have to go LSU with this one. A kid that, like we said, was a Purdue commit.
Yep.
Really a great commitment for Purdue early on, but once the in-state school turned up the heat, and then of course having the opportunity to play quarterback in a Brian Kelly offense,
Yep.
really just far too appealing, I think, for a kid from the state of Louisiana. So I think he ends up an LSU Tiger.
Yeah. Very rarely do we disagree. So this is one of the times we still agree. I think he ends up being a LSU Tiger, and you can honestly see when you notice patterns from a kid where they're committed to a school and then they get an offer and then they start posting the edits and liking the tweets, and you could see or tell when a school kind of turns up the heat. And it's really hard, number one, for Purdue to beat LSU out even for a non-in-state kid. And then you got a kid in Louisiana and Baton Rouge. So there you go. That's my prediction as well, LSU.
Another kid that I actually forgot to put into the outline, Orlando's finest. Very excited about this one, man. So 4-star defensive lineman Cameron James from Olympia High School in Orlando, Florida. Actually, a good friend of mine, Corey Bender over at On3, got the scoop on this yesterday, which is Monday from the day we were recording. Found out that Cameron James will be announcing his college commitment on Sunday. So Cameron James, it looks like the top 2 schools. He's a very quiet kid on social media, does not really post anything. So Corey actually got the scoop from his father, but he will be announcing his commitment on Sunday, August 14th. And Cameron actually did post that on his IG story today. And it looks like it's going to come down to the Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs in that recruitment. But just another one that's going to be making a commitment in that 13th through 15th window. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week with all these kids committing. But I wanted to add that one in there as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a big battle right there. Interdivision rivals. So you got Georgia and Florida battling out. We'll see who wins there.
Yeah, man. We'll move over to the commitments this week. Notre Dame. I feel like we've talked about Notre Dame probably more than any other school on this podcast.
As we should.
Yeah, because they're killing it on the trail. But Notre Dame had another great week, landing 3 commitments, 2 4-star prospects. One of them being from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We talked about that city quite a bit in this podcast with number 8 linebacker in the country, Jaden Osbury from University Lab High School, which is essentially on LSU's campus. So that's a phenomenal get for Coach Freeman and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Another kid that we've talked about a bunch on this podcast, Dylan Edwards, former Kansas State commit at running back from Derby, Kansas. We predicted last week that it would end up being Notre Dame. Once again, we're shooting 100% from the field on those predictions.
Yes, sir.
It was pretty evident when he got that Notre Dame offer and then decommitted a couple days later that would be the school that ultimately secured his commitment. Excellent get there for Notre Dame. And then their third commitment of the week was 3-star safety Ben Minich from Westchester, Ohio. Next commitment, big one for the school in Baton Rouge, big one for LSU as 5-star number 4 wide receiver Shelton Sampson Jr. committed to the Tigers over Florida State, Alabama, and Texas A&M. Then we move over to 4-star number 15 edge Braylon Shelby from Friendswood, Texas, who committed to USC over in-state Texas. That's a big recruiting win for the Trojans there because Texas has been recruiting really well, and especially in-state. So to be able to secure that commitment from a Lone Star State prospect, big win there for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans. But Texas was not to be outdone. They secured a commitment from 4-star linebacker Darian Gillette, who committed to Texas over Texas A&M and Ohio State. Then 4-star safety Jordan Sanford, another Texas prospect, feel like we're talking about a bunch of them here today, committed to Texas Tech over TCU and Oklahoma State. Really big commitment for the Red Raiders there. They're not known for being a college football recruiting juggernaut. So to keep a 4-star safety in the state of Texas away from schools like Oklahoma State and TCU, who I would say probably right now are a little bit better programs than they are at this time. Big win for them. And then 4-star Curtis, I know you're really glad that I get to say this name. And if to
I'm
the young
thanking the
man,
Lord. I'm thanking the Lord, man.
to
'Cause
the
I
young
wouldn't.
man, if you listen to this podcast and I butcher your name, I sincerely apologize. It is Olu Watosin Babaladi from DeMatha Catholic High School.
Babalade.
From DeMatha Catholic High School in Hyattsville, Maryland. He committed to South Carolina over schools like Ohio State, North Carolina, Maryland, and others. So a big win there for the Gamecocks. Coach Beamer's done a really good job recruiting for them. They've got quite a class, and I hope I don't ever have to say that name again.
No, I mean, thank God it's a commitment, not a top school is at least a commitment. But usually I could go and say a first name and ask you to come in, or you say the first name and come for the last name. Both of these, I would just, hey, Connor, just read this off for me.
I guess that's just my burden to bear on this podcast. I just have to try and pronounce all the names.
Hey, you the encyclopedia for this stuff, man. So I just
Listen,
only
I
write to put
need
more slack on you.
definitely need somebody to help me out on some of these, man. It's crazy. But yeah, we'll move on to 4-star linebacker Arvel Reese from Glenville High School in Cleveland, Ohio. He committed to Ohio State over more than 20 other offers. Florida State picked up a nice commitment this week with 4-star running back Samuel Singleton from Fleming Island High School in Orange Park, Florida. He committed to the Noles with over 30 other offers. So no shortage of offers for that young man. And then 4-star edge Ashley Williams from Zachary, Louisiana, committed to Auburn. Williams decommitted from Nebraska on July 31st after only being committed to the Huskers for 3 weeks. So not a long-standing commitment there. Obviously, the young man, I guess, figured out he wanted to play in the SEC. Brian Harsin, who may or may not be there after this year, is somebody that's actually done a decent job recruiting for Auburn. So we'll see how his season goes and how he does and how if he's still around. But they picked up a nice prospect in Ashley Williams.
Hey, any kid that commits to Auburn, I hope they're committed to the school because that you are committed to a coach on the hottest of seats right now. He was a hair away from being let go during this off season. So, hey, the people that commit to him, either he's amazing at recruiting or just really love the program there.
Which is wild because he's only been there a year. It's unbelievable that 1 year in, I mean, there are extenuating circumstances as to why he
It's so
could have
many
gotten fired
circumstances.
after 1 year.
I
But
don't blame him.
it doesn't it doesn't often happen when you see somebody on a hot seat after 1 year. So hopefully, like you said, these kids are committing to the school. But yeah, they were definitely on a witch hunt for that one. But then next we'll move to 4-star cornerback Malachi Crawford from Pacifica High School in Oxnard, California. He committed to USC over schools like California, UCLA, Washington, and Arizona. 4-star running back Parker Jenkins from Klein Forest High School in Houston, Texas, decided to stay home and commit to the Houston Cougars over nearly 40 other offers. Big win there for Houston, a school that's getting ready to join the Big 12 with the new conference realignment. So getting a 4-star running back like that is paramount for them to be able to compete at that level. So a nice big recruiting win there by landing Parker Jenkins from the home city high school of Klein Forest High School. Then we have 3-star safety Jeremiah Anglin. We've talked about him a little bit on the podcast before. Polk County area product from Lake Wales, Florida, and cousin of Derwin James, who played at Florida State, committed to Kentucky over Tennessee, Alabama, Penn State, Jackson State, Pittsburgh, FSU, and UCF. Nice win there for the Wildcats, a prospect that I think is very good, maybe a little underrated, but Kentucky does a good job, as we've talked about in previous podcasts, of identifying talent and going out and acquiring that talent.
That's what I was just going to chime in and say. I believe it was last week that we brought out that topic and that conversation of how well they do of just thoroughly evaluating these kids. And this is one they should be excited about. Personally, I think he's a 4-star, not a 3-star. And to beat out in-state FSU when they have family ties for him is something that is really impressive. And they continue to do recruiting really well and in my opinion, evaluating really well.
Absolutely. We'll move on to 3-star offensive lineman Connor Liu from Kennesaw Mountain High School in Ackworth, Georgia. He committed to Miami over Auburn, Georgia, and Clemson. A lot of people thought this kid was going to Auburn. Miami decided to come in and make a change, got him to go take his talents down to Coral Gables. We just commended Brian Harsin for recruiting well and landing a guy like Ashley Williams, but this one kind of seemed like it was all but locked up to Auburn, and seems like they kind of fumbled the bag. Miami came in, ended up getting a good offensive lineman. Mario Cristobal is always going to recruit offensive line well, given that he is an offensive line coach by trade. So their offensive line class is looking really good.
Yeah, and then personally, this is another kid that I think is completely underrated, 3-star. I think he should be a 4-star as well. And it's, for me, like you said, is a big win for Miami over Auburn, because until literally a few days before his commitment, it seemed locked in for Auburn. And if we made a prediction, might have been one of my first misses. So he ends up, good thing I didn't, because I wasn't sure. So we're still shooting 100%. But that was a great win for Miami. And I like, me and Connor say, we're unbiased podcast. We give credit where credit's due, and that's a kid that people could try and make fun of the rankings of him and getting an offensive lineman. But one thing that Cristobal really knows how to recruit and know how to evaluate is offensive lineman. I think he did a great job here.
Absolutely. And as far as offensive line rankings go, obviously you have your 5-stars, your high 4-stars that are going to be the guys. But when it comes to offensive linemen, I think it's probably the hardest position at the high school level to evaluate. So you're going to get a lot more of those mid-level 3-stars, low-level 4-stars, and maybe high-level 3-stars that are going to outperform their ranking because it's such a hard position to evaluate at the high school level. So taking a 3-star offensive lineman, and like I said, obviously every program wants to land the high 4-stars, the 5-stars in the trenches, because obviously games are won and lost in the trenches. But that is, I think, one position, especially offensive line itself, where you can take developmental prospects or guys that are deemed mid to low level 3-stars and have them outperform that ranking, because those guys typically do tend to outperform any ranking that is put out there. So we'll move on.
100% agree with that evaluation. And like you said, there's those kids that outperform. And I think if you go look at it, it's probably the number one position that outperforms their rankings. Many of these kids going first round, second round, kids that maybe didn't even have stars coming out or 3-stars coming out. And that's usually how it is with the offensive line. It's the trenches. The trenches, especially in high school, is rigorous to sit there and be able to evaluate. So in this case, with my evaluation, I think he's somebody who should be rated higher, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of these kids are obviously, unless you're playing at a school like IMG Academy or something like that, a lot of these kids are the biggest kid on the field. So they're easily manhandling whoever's lining up across from them. So it's hard to really evaluate, like we said, how good they're going to be at the next level. You don't know if an offensive lineman is just that much bigger than everybody else, he's ragdolling them around, or if he really has that dog in him where he's going to get to the next level. And it doesn't matter who lines up in front of him. He's going to take them out. So it's a tough position to evaluate. And I don't envy recruiting services for having to evaluate those guys.
And a lot of these big kids, they don't even get to go up against top competition, right? So how many of these big even these 3-star kids or 4-star kids are even going up against a 4-star defensive lineman or a 3-star defensive lineman? Some of them are going against no stars and ragdolling them. So it's a really tough position to go against.
All right, we'll move on to three-star defensive lineman Michael Gardner from Liberty High School in Peoria, Arizona. He committed to Oregon over schools like Michigan, Texas, Wisconsin, and California. And then the final 2023 commitment that we're going to highlight for this podcast, three-star wide receiver Justin Brown from Blackman High School in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, commits to Mississippi State, joining Seth Davis, our last podcast guest.
Yes, sir.
Varsity
Podcast
alum.
Yes, sir.
Varsity alum Seth Davis just got a new teammate in Justin Brown, who committed to Mississippi State over Purdue, Penn State, Pittsburgh, and West Virginia. Nice get for the Bulldogs there. And Coach Mike Leach now has another offensive weapon. And then the only 2024 prospect that we're going to highlight here today is four-star number 5 running back Tavonny Mizell from DeMatha Catholic and High School in Hyattsville, Maryland. He committed to Georgia over more than 20 other offers, including programs like Alabama, Florida, Oregon, and Oklahoma. Young man had a who's who of offer lists, actually originally from the state of Florida, moved up to Maryland this last year, and Georgia just seems to continue to recruit the running back position at an elite level. Seems like they land top level prospects every year. So another big one for 2024.
And me personally, if I was at college, running back's the position I kind of would wait till the current cycle to take. I like to stay back on running backs. You see it even it translates into the NFL. The shelf life isn't always there, and I think that's a lot of times you see that in high school. Kid have a breakout junior year and kind of fall off senior year, and then go into college and not end up panning out into anything. But he is a great kid from what I've seen so far. Elite talent. I guess they wanted to make that decision, but the class is loaded at running back next cycle. So we'll take a look, see how that goes there. And in their case, hopefully it didn't affect them in the recruiting, because there's some prospects that I know personally that were really considering them, that this might halt them back a little bit, and that were formally committed to other SEC schools. So we'll see how that ends up panning out. Two more things, though. Sam being the first guest to come up on here and mute his mic when he's not talking. Big shout out to you for situational awareness. That's big. It helps the quality of the podcast. And then another thing, about 3 weeks ago, I mentioned my team's name, my NFL team's name. So when I was 13, my dad, TK, as y'all know him, we made a bet. He took advantage of me as an adolescent. And when I was 13, I thought that my team was going to the Super Bowl, and he bet me my privilege to say their name that they weren't, which is a stupid bet I would never make now, with an intelligent brain. But at 13, being all gung-ho, I thought we were going to do it. So I apologize for mentioning my team's name on the podcast. I told him I'll give him an apology, man.
Hey, man, listen. Well, I will say, even though that was a pretty, well, I guess I could say childish bet because you were a child at the time. But yeah, even though that's a pretty childish bet, man, speaks to your integrity, sir,
Yes.
to come on the podcast and formally submit an apology for saying your team's name, who
Yes.
will again go 0-2 against the Dolphins this year.
We'll see. Hey, I think y'all shouldn't be that confident, man, but we'll see. Well,
I'm
I
always
love to
confident.
revisit this. It's gonna be on YouTube, so we could pull it up if
We could
it ends
definitely
up not
pull it
going
back up.
that way. Yeah,
All right,
y'all
man.
team, you got a nice team though. So
Oh man,
I wouldn't
hey,
be
listen,
surprised.
weapons all around, weapons all around.
Especially at receiver.
But this is not an NFL podcast.
Right, not
I
at all.
digress.
Right now it's an apology podcast for me saying an NFL team's name I shouldn't have.
But I'm
let's
gonna put
get
you on the
back.
spot here, Curtis. I'm gonna put you on
Go
the
ahead.
spot. We have another one of Orlando's finest pulling themselves off the market tomorrow on Wednesday, August 10th. My favorite running back in the country, Edgewater High School, Orlando, Florida, Cedric Baxter Jr.
Yes, sir.
He's narrowed it down to 5 schools.
Yes, sir.
Where's he going, Curtis?
I personally think, and I've seen people on the TL, I guess there's this one guy on the TL that's getting in people's heads saying that he's going to the University of Florida. I don't see that happening. As much as a fan of the Gators, I would love to see that happen. I think he's going to where the oil is richer, Texas. I think where he goes, joining Arch Manning and Jonte over there. How about you? Who do you think he ends up going to, in your expertise?
Sir, I'm not sure why that person on the timeline is trying to gas
He's
up Florida.
actually saying taking bets. So
Oh, he's
if
taking
anybody would like to
he's
make
taking
some free
bets?
money,
Man,
yes.
I would can you
Nelly
send
locked in $100 bet.
can you send me the profile of this
I will
gentleman?
send you the
I would love
tweets
to make some free
so you
money.
could comment on it.
I would love to make some free money.
Imagine
No,
we're all wrong. I wouldn't be mad. I'll pay
Hey,
them that
listen,
money for it.
the Florida fans would be very happy to lose that bet if it
Yeah.
somehow went
It's
sideways.
a win-win, that bet.
But yeah, so he's down to a lot. I think he's down to 4 schools: Texas, Miami, Texas A&M, and Florida. Obviously, you said Texas. I think you're absolutely right. Big oil money out in Texas, and Sarkisian is doing a fantastic job recruiting out there. They have a very good recruiting class, and I think it gets even better tomorrow on Wednesday with my favorite running back in the country, Cedric
I
Baxter
was gonna
Jr.
say, definitely one of the top running backs in the country. Huge get, especially pairing it with Arch Manning. I mean, we like to say that he's overrated, and I don't think he's a number one quarterback. But is he a good quarterback to pair players with? Definitely. So,
Oh, I
great
would
get
like to
there.
shout out my guys over at SI. SI just released the SI 99 rankings today.
I'm really
Um,
impressed by these rankings too.
yeah,
It's
SI just released their rankings today.
on
Number
point.
one prospect in the country, thanks to my guy John Garcia, is Dante Moore, the quarterback committed to Oregon. And Curtis, I'm not sure if you saw, but for anybody that did not see, Arch Manning is quarterback 5 on SI's rankings. He is the
Yep.
10th ranked prospect in the country, but he is quarterback number 5 behind Dante Moore, Nico Iamaleava, Jaden Rashada, and I think Malachi Nelson.
Yep, those are the 5, and so like I said, a lot of times I don't really agree with rankings, and I know you probably had to have your foot in some of these evaluations or something because these rankings were on point when it came down to
So
where they were
I
listed.
didn't specifically have a hand in any of these rankings. I know my guy Zach Goodall over at SI All Gators was very involved in the cornerback rankings for that
Okay,
class. Cormani McLean being the number 1 cornerback and number 2 overall prospect in the
agreed
SI
there.
99. But I did help out my guy Brandon Carroll a little bit. He
Mm-hmm.
asked for my opinion when it came to running backs.
Okay,
So I voiced my opinion with him as far
okay.
as the running backs go, and it seems like my opinion was well received. We'll just say that. So yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
definitely.
SI only does a couple different rankings
Mm-hmm.
each year. They only rank the people that are going to be prospective seniors. They don't rank the juniors.
Right.
So SI only ranks 99 players. They do a preseason. They do a postseason, and I think another one after the All-Star games. Um, the one thing I will say, I was a little disappointed to see that Andy Jean was not in our SI 99 because he is like we've said many times, he's one of our favorite prospects.
I was
Um,
looking for him. I was
but
definitely looking for him.
but all in all, I think SI did a good job. I might be a little biased simply because I work for them, but I think SI did a good job of maintaining a level of non-bias as far as names go. So
Yeah.
definitely wanted to shout those guys out. Their rankings dropped today. If you haven't looked at them, I have retweeted the link for the SI 99. I'll pin it at the top of my profile for a couple days so that everybody can check them out. But
Yep.
just wanted to go ahead and shout those guys out because they worked really hard on those evaluations.
And then me personally, I have no ties to SI, no bias at all. If anything, I have more ties to 24/7 and On 3 because I'm cooler with those guys. But but when it comes to it, right? SI did a great job with how me and Connor have discussed the ranking process, where they're not updating after every camp, which to me makes no sense in the slightest. You'll have a fluctuation of recruits going up and down. SI is methodical in it. They take their time when they go in, and even when they rank their kids, I think it wasn't off of names. It was off of what they actually went out and physically saw. So SI continues to do that. I personally wish they would extend the list though from 99, but because then I feel like you'd see where other sites get it wrong, because I feel like they wouldn't have Andy Dean in the 300s. I think he'd be in the 100s at least, but we'll see.
Absolutely, man. Well,
Is there any plan to expand it, or is there a reason why y'all do 99?
I'd have to ask John, honestly. I don't want to speculate and say why there's only 99. I know it's much easier to get more of an in-depth evaluation when there are less prospects. And then also, I don't think SI has the same manpower that the sites like 247 On 3 do from a national scouting perspective. Obviously, I've been at a number of camps with John, with Zach, and talked to them about our evaluations of certain kids that we've seen in person. And then obviously after their seasons, we talk about film and see how they've looked during the season when the pads actually get strapped on. So it's much easier, like I said, to have a more in-depth evaluation of these kids when you have less people on the ground to do those evaluations, as well as when there are less people to evaluate themselves.
Appreciate that insight. But yeah, I mean, that's my only, it's not really a knock, but it's a preference. Just wish they would extend that. But other than that, it's out of a recruiting side, I wish it would be involved in the 247 composite. I guess maybe because they don't rank enough, that's why they don't do it. But out of all the recruiting sites, that's the one that's impressed me the most. So, and
Your
definitely no bias.
your feedback is duly noted, Curtis.
I appreciate it. I want a thank you letter from everybody at SI.
I'll be sure to file it in the suggestion box.
Yeah, definitely. Let me know how that goes. Let me know how that works out.
But yeah, man, with that being said, man, we're ready to close this one out. Another fantastic episode.
Always
Please,
the
guys,
highlight.
let me make sure I shout out before I forget them. Our sponsor, Sativa Doll.
Yes,
This episode of Roll Up Varsity is brought to you by Sativa Doll. Sativa Doll is a veteran-owned company that offers 3 different products: CBD soft gels for you and your pets, roll-on for pain relief. The soft gels come from a trusted source that manages the product from seed to sell and are often recommended by medical professionals as part of your regular wellness routine. The roll-on is formulated by pharmacists for quick, effective results and has a menthol for extra cooling relief. Please, guys, go check out sativadol.com for these products. Use promo code VARSITY25 for 25% off your order to help support the podcast. Please, guys, go put a notification on for our YouTube channel now. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. Thank you again to our guy Taylor for putting in all that effort to make sure that we get the YouTube videos up. Subscribe, and rate us 5 stars. Just like our guest today, Samuel Mpemba, 5-star from IMG Academy.
5-star releasing top 5s.
5-star with a top 5 for a 5-star rated podcast, guys. Thank you guys, as always, for your continued support. Curtis, always a pleasure. I enjoy doing this every week.
Definitely always look forward to it every week.
With that being said, Roll Up Varsity. We out.
We out, Varsity.